What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Point Three Podcast. Hero Scroll, Spider Brando, and Lou back again, but this time we're going to be talking about and asking ourselves the question: does spoiler and leak culture hurt the superhero genre? So before we jump into the conversation, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like if you like what you're hearing as you're listening along with us, and let us know your thoughts. Comment down below if you believe that spoilers and leak culture does ultimately hurt the superhero genre. But to kick us off with their first perspective, Spider Brando, what's your simple answer to this one?
Simple answer, yes. It does hurt. And all three of us have fallen victim to it many times over the last couple of years. For the better, for the worse, we'll be discussing about it throughout this entire episode.
I agree. I second that.
Guys, it's one of those loaded questions where it does, but in the grand scheme of things, does it really? Like, think about it. We fiend for more news. We fiend for all of these studios and companies and our favorite actors or creators or artists to release their next thing. And we're kind of living that culture where we're a little impatient on these things because we want the next and we have access to so much stuff. It can be a really, really, really good thing. However, I do have to agree with you guys. It does actually hurt the superhero genre in the long run. And the first piece I want to throw out here is really why? Why for you personally is this? I'll throw it back to you, Hero. Why does it hurt it for you specifically as someone who shows up every Wednesday at 9:05 Eastern to do a live stream to talk about this kind of stuff?
It takes a lot of the fun out of it, right? Where I do think part of the fun in doing what we do and talking about the films is maybe speculating what could come next and, trying to just go along for the ride. And when it just pops in from some random person on Twitter, X, or Instagram or Reddit, man, it's such a deflating feeling. And you know that, especially so more so for the people that also work on the project too, because of the artworks that go into it, the time that it goes into maybe revealing some of this stuff, it just takes that fun out of it. And I go back to, for example, when the trailer for Civil War came out. I wasn't really online as much as I was back then, and if I remember correctly, I don't think there was much I think there was talks of Spider-Man being in Civil War, but it wasn't fully confirmed. Yet I always remember I was in the library of my high school when the trailer showed up, and shout out to the guy driving by.
Weekly occurrence.
Weekly occurrence. New guest on the podcast. But I was in the library of my high school, and Spider-Man just pops off at the end. And I remember being so excited because I had no idea. So my hype level for Civil War was already high, but it went even higher. And I think the problem with leak culture is that when you reveal who's going to be the villain or the surprise villain or what the design's going to look like when it's supposed to be saved for a trailer, it just sucks the fun out of it. It's no longer fun.
Now, you see, for me, when it comes to Spider-Man, I have a little bit of bias to where I just don't really care about the leaks. If we were doing this podcast before No Way Home was coming out, oh my god, I wouldn't stop talking about the leaks. I would be freaking all over them. I was researching everything going into that movie. But that was just because I was like, am I really entering a movie where I'm going to see my childhood dream come true? And Marvel did the good thing by obviously not revealing anything official beforehand. And that's something to where I feel like the lead up to No Way Home was able to generate most of the hype for the movie just because of the leaks. But you got like Quantumania coming out, and where most of the script got leaked online, and a lot of people hated what the script sounded like, and then boom, no one ended up going to see the movie. And you kind of got scrapped Kang from it, scrapped a whole lot of storylines of it because the box office didn't hit its numbers. Then No Way Home, most of that movie got leaked online. The script details of Toby Andrew, I was freaking all in the Reddit threads. A lot of stuff that I saw was like rumors came true. It made like $2 billion, and Spider-Man is just still out here making money. So like it does have its pros, does have its cons, but the cons always outweigh the good, in my opinion. Deadpool and Wolverine, another example. You had a lot of the Wolverine suit and Hugh and Ryan just walking together side by side. Pictures came up online. Marvel just said, "Screw it. We're making our own pictures HD and then posting about it and feeding into the marketing and the hype for the movie for it." There's a very, very fine line to where it comes to can't overset expectations, but you can't underset them.
Mm.
And Multiverse of Madness is another example to where there's so many rumors, cameos, just people forcing cameos into there just to get clicks and setting up fans to expect so much, but then get disappointment. So you always got to go into all. Whenever you see a spoiler or leak, I always think of what MJ said in No Way Home. Expect disappointment and you won't be disappointed.
Mm. Ooh. Which is kind of the mindset that a lot of people have adopted post Endgame, and specifically for a lot of these movies, they're not all winners. Let's put it this way, especially for like Marvel, specifically Phase 4, Phase 5, and the end of the DCEU. But the leak culture kind of takes away from what could be successful movies. If Quantumania, I think that's one of the best examples. If Quantumania didn't have that script leak and people are like, wow, a lot of people are showing up to the box office, maybe this is something. There's a perception that people go into it with more of a positive light versus, the best boy or girl that is like, I'm not going to go see this movie. And you're like, if they're not going to go see this movie, why am I wanting to go see this movie? And if I don't want to go see this movie, maybe my brother or sister, whoever, my wife or girlfriend, brother, boyfriend, whatever it might be, they're not going to go. So now we're -3. Just figure you extrapolate that globally, and we're not talking like international leaks. Like, how many times do we see stuff from Japan that's leaked in Brazil and it gets sent over here and people are like, oh, guess what? Blah, 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 blah. It just, what little wow factors there are to kind of add to the perception of some of these movies get taken away. And it's kind of like sweeping the rug out from underneath. The Marvels. People knew what the end credit scene was going to be. And that was probably one of the better moments that they tacked onto the movie. That was just like, the movie ended and people literally got up and left, full well knowing that it's a Marvel movie and there's going to be a post-credit scene. Like, I know it. It's out.
But you know what? The problem comes into where there's a lot of misinformation as well.
Yeah.
Right? Because there is a lot of like, okay, this is the script leak, blah, blah, blah. But then there's misinformation of what is going to happen. So people end up creating this fake narrative of what's going to happen and immediately sours people on a project. Right. But not only is there misinformation, there's also only half information because sometimes these leakers don't get the full thing. And I think one of the absolutely best examples, and this wasn't even in terms of the superhero genre, but one of the best examples very recently that I can think of is Mortal Kombat 1, where a lot of plot details got halfway leaked and people were mad. people were throwing mud on this game's story since, like, again, before people even got a good first look at it.
Mhm.
People were like, "Oh my god, X characters coming back." But then when the full game came out and they realized it was part of a twist and how well that twist was executed, people were like, "Wow, that was great." But there was a lot of people that didn't give it a shot because of that. They only got that half truth, that half leak, and they were like, "Okay, I'm done." And I do think that happens here where people might hear one part and not really get the full thing. They might just hear, "Oh, this is the after credit," or "This character is only gonna be this way," when you know that these leakers haven't seen the full movie.
Oh.
So then they let their perception of the movie be guided by that, and I just think that's really unfair to the movie.
Yeah, that's huge. And for people watching, they're just like, oh well, if they're eventually gonna find out it's a twist. There's some people that never recover from that, and they're just like, oh well, you told me it was a twist. Now I know that there's a twist, and really I'm not invested in the story anyways, because now I know the big thing. Like they're never gonna go down that story route. And I think people really underestimate over the course of the last few years, and we all know. So when I'm saying underestimate, I think majority of us know that this exists, but the power and the influence that social media has on fans. Because again, I think there's this level of crave culture to where people want more content. They want to talk about Spider-Man. I think you embodied that the best. Spider-Man, you want to talk about it, you're going to breathe it, you're going to incorporate it literally into your
On my
body.
body.
Like exactly. So if Spider-Man's coming out, or like even Sonic, I know more about Sonic
Ready
now.
for Sonic tattoo?
Yeah. But think about that though. Like someone says Sonic and you're like, Sonic what? Sonic, like, let's talk about it. Let's do it. The passion for these fandoms and these characters and stories across different and various mediums, people are gonna find the people that are giving them the next for that, to satisfy that crave that they have until the next show or movie or game or drop or whatever, book, something along those lines. It's easy to manipulate and to kind of spread misinformation to a lot of those people, and they just run with it.
I just to go into how obsessed I am over Sonic, I'm legit following like a Sonic 3 trailer page on Twitter and YouTube
100%.
just to try to get updates or leaks on when the heck this damn trailer is gonna come out. So Paramount, if you're watching this, please, 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 please drop that Sonic trailer if it's not out by the time this video comes out. 'Cause I don't even care about the movie. I just want to see the damn trailer at this point.
They
It's
could
like
not have been a
stop
better
caring
use
about
case.
just so I couldn't care about the leaks or potential spoilers that may or may not have like are true or not. So
Yeah. But what I was gonna say, kind of adding to your point, Lou, another great example that's outside of films, but within the superhero genre, in terms of gaming, once again, Wolverine. I think you guys remember just a couple months ago
Insomniac leak.
the huge and absolutely detrimental Insomniac leak, and the Wolverine game getting its vertical slices leaked, and how many people thought this is the finished game.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
like, this game looks like butt, Wolverine looks like butt, and it's like, guys, this is nowhere near close to being the full game.
Dude,
Nowhere near.
before you carry on with that, legit, I'm not as close to games as you guys are, right? So for me, hearing these, like, that's big. That hit my feed. The amount of people that I saw that are just like, I'm not going to play the game. I'm like,
Yeah.
I know it's not done, but how do you even make the claim? They're like, and you see comment in threads and replies of people being like, did you see how it looks? Why would I waste my time on that? I'm like, what?
And that's the thing. It's like these people who really feed and thrive off of league culture only, I don't think always get the full picture of certain things. Because I think if they stopped for a second and really, tried to think for a second, okay, this game is nowhere near close to being done. In the same leak, they told us this game is about 3 years away.
Yeah.
That's such a long time in game development. Such a long time that this game is going to look dramatically different. So,
Yeah.
you know what? Let me calm my expectations. Let me, it's okay. It's more than okay that this doesn't look finished because, it's not. But I think people don't do that. They just see they go off their immediate reaction and they just let that guide them.
Yeah.
And that's such a detriment. Such a detriment.
Let me ask you guys this real quick. Did you see a lot of leaks and spoilers on X-Men 97?
No.
Like going into the show or
Mm-hmm.
no?
I think the quality of, not the quality of the project itself, but the viewing quality was increased exponentially because you did not know what was coming next. It wasn't. Now, season 2 is going to be kind of a different story because I think everyone wants to kind of get in to know what's coming next, especially for various reasons, and understandably so. Bodemayo not being a part of it, is who's going to do what, and blah, 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 blah. That's great. That's understandable. But I expect now to open Threads or open X and to see Bodemayo leak this, or someone said this, and this is blah, 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 blah. And now that it is mainstream, it may tarnish the expectations for a season 2 because this leak culture just has to be first in line to say, forget watching it. This is what's going to happen. We are going to be the ones to tell you what is here, true or false. And it's a detractor to a lot of people viewing it now because, shout out to algorithms, if it's part of your topic, there's a really good chance it's going to come across your eyes.
Yeah. First thing on your YouTube feed, first thing on your TikTok and on your Instagram, it's going to show up. And in case anybody ever wonders why we don't talk about leaks, this is why. Because part of the 0.3 mission is we want to enhance your experience, not ruin it. And showing you leaks, talking about leaks does not enhance it. It just makes it bad. So in case we are aware of leaks most of the time when it comes to like live stream Wednesdays and just topics in general, we are aware of them. We just don't always, more than likely 99% of the time, we're not going to talk about it unless it's something that's quite game changing, so to say.
I mean, there truly are levels to it, though. It's a part of a discussion like Quantumania, right? We know King is going to be in the movie, maybe, or we know that Ramatut's going to be in the movie. To be honest with you guys, when stuff like that comes out, you only know so much, and then you see the movie and you're like, well, that spoiler was kind of dumb. But a script or that, like, word for word, like they released posts Beyond the Spider-Verse. Oops, I'm from the future. Across the Spider-Verse, then you get to see the script and those types of things and like the screenplay and all that. Like, that's cool. That's fine. That's great. We can break that down afterwards. But for something like that to drop before the movie comes out, that's like, to me, it's just kind of disrespectful to all the fans, the people who enjoy it, and the people who are part of creating those projects. Because again, why would I want to be a part of that? Like, I couldn't imagine being a gaming developer or being in that space and living in that world right now. One, my livelihood's always going to be threatened, but two, just my hard work just being put out there, which is going to absolutely soil the gaming experience beforehand. And we know how important those first few weeks and days of sales are for that's their box office type of thing. That's their issues sold. It matters. It does matter. And ultimately, a lot of us are just hurting future projects because they're either not going to greenlight it, or B, people don't want to be working on those projects and they'll go on and do something else, and we're missing out.
It's a vicious cycle. It's a very vicious cycle. And if you don't want to be a part of it, the best way is honestly just, I mean, this is going to sound kind of silly, but like just get off of it immediately. because your algorithm doesn't know what you're doing if you
The
swipe away.
words.
So
Something I need to learn to do is just like Twitter X has like the mute words
yes,
from popping up in your feed. Man, I wish I did that during X-Men 97. I would have
That's my
had so
Invincible.
many I would have had so many logins to my Twitter or X where the first thing popped up was just spoiler. I'm like, it's my fault because it's my For You page, so it's all for me. But some of these people need to post damn spoiler warnings.
Ooh.
yeah,
I-
they
let-
do.
Let me ask you guys this real quick, right? Because spoiler and leak culture, I know we're kind of talking about before, but what are your guys' thoughts about when you post or talk about these things? I think we kind of touched on it when, Disney Plus was launching these episodes in like the middle of the night and you wake up and that's the first thing you see. I'm like, dog, I didn't even get a chance to put my feet on the ground. And it's just like, I know what
Wake up
happens
at
in
6
episode 3.
a.m. Freaking wake up at 6
Yeah.
a.m. Episode came out 3 hours ago. Boom. First thing on my feed. It's just, I'm not going to say the spoiler right now.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
oh, certain cameo. I knew it before I saw it.
Yeah.
I'm upset.
I say the good rule of thumb is at least a week. At least wait a week before posting without spoiler warnings. If you're going to post within the week, I'll always include a spoiler warning. And then
Fair.
also taking it a step further, and I'm talking to you, you know who you are if you do this. If you post a spoiler warning, or if you post a picture, and if you go, if you know, that's a spoiler. That's still a spoiler. If you post a picture of of let's say Rama Tut 2 days after Quantumania came out, and again that's a bad example, but let's say you do that, or not even 2 days, you post it like a couple hours after. That's not a that's still a
Context.
spoiler. That's
Yeah.
still a spoiler. So don't do that. Don't do that. Just post a spoiler warning and just, say X-Men 97 spoiler warning.
What gets me the most mad is on Twitter. I'm calling it Twitter. I don't care.
On our next episode, should it be Twitter or X?
The funniest thing on there is like when you open up the app and it's just like first tweet is just spoilers / 2 spaces of text and then boom, it's a spoiler thing.
Yeah.
Like maybe add like 6 rows before, and then there's a picture that goes with the 2. I'm like, how am I supposed to avoid a spoiler warning that still has a picture attached to it and
That's my thing.
like nothing missing from the damn,
Yeah.
like nothing hiding it? Like at least post like another picture first and then like post like a spoiler warning picture,
Like
that
10
said
of
spoiler
them.
warning, and
I
then, like, the
appreciate
next
those.
picture.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah. Don't be that person. Don't be that person.
No, reviews and stuff, those aren't spoilers. But when you flat out take like the biggest, and we know what the biggest hype moment is from a show or movie or something along those lines, and you lead with that, a symbiote Spider-Man in a Spider-Man 4 being like, Spider-Man 4 was crazy, symbiote Spider-Man. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Or
That looks pretty crazy. You're right.
yeah.
Thank
If
you.
you know, post a picture of Venom.
Yeah.
It's like, Spider-Man just came out today.
Although I would actually be really excited to see, like, Bully Maguire out here, and it's like, he's got his like eyeliner and he's in his black suit. Like, if you know, you know. I'd love to see one of those because I'm like, is that Toby
guess you
coming
think you
back
will.
or is that symbiote Spider-Man? Like, make it interesting if you're gonna do it. Don't be boring.
Yeah, don't just post it.
Yeah.
At least try to make us think.
But yeah,
But
something. Throw me
still, just don't do it at all.
Yeah,
That's the
don't do
way
it.
I see it. Don't do it at
Don't do
all.
it.
Don't.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Do we do it? No, I'm just kidding.
We don't.
I don't think so.
Not
Maybe
here.
some of my thumbnails could be a little out there from an episode or two, but nothing like blatant spoil. Like I've been seeing so freaking 2 days after, not even the day after X-Men 97 finale came out, all the YouTube thumbnails are just a certain character. I'm like, gee, for people that haven't seen this episode, they're gonna be massively spoiled about what happens at the end or what's to come for season 2.
Yeah.
Like,
Gotta get the clicks. You gotta
That's all
get
that
the
it is.
clicks.
Like you said, to be first. And that's how everybody sees it. But not here at the Point 3 podcast.
Ha! Nope,
So-
we're last. No, I'm just kidding.
Not last, but at least like,
Okay.
fourth.
Respectfully.
So,
Ooh, yeah. Now listen, we appreciate each and every one of you watching. It's good for conversation, right? We're nerds like you're all nerds. If you're watching this and you've made it to this point, then you should be subscribed to the Point 3 podcast. And you should join us on Wednesday nights at 9:05 Eastern, sometimes 9:10, because we're talking about spoilers and leaks. But we don't want you to hear about it. So that being said, 3 things that you have to keep doing. You got to keep watching, keep reading, and you got to keep nerding out. And one last thing that you have to keep doing here, people, protect your algorithms, protect yourself from spoiler and leak culture the most often that you can, because it's only going to enhance your experience with all these projects, just like we do here at the Point 3 podcast. But until the next episode, everyone, stay safe out there.